Beginning in the late 15th and early 16th century, a boom in European exploration of North America occurred. England and Spain began the movement, with France to follow. It is commonly taught in schools that explorers traveled to find trade routes to the Orient and expand geographical knowledge. However, there is much more detail behind the events of these expeditions. History education in schools inaccurately portrays exploration of North America, as it ignores the motives of explorers, the dangers and hardships they faced, and the reality of their living conditions when colonizing a new country. In the late 15th century, the first great age of discovery occurred. Columbus is usually presented as the catalyst of European exploration of North America. However, his role in exploration is often overemphasized. It truly was a significant cultural event, but Columbus is often given more credit than he deserves for the discovery of America. Even if Columbus had not made his voyage in 1492, other explorers would have made the same discoveries around the same time in history. Cabot, da Verrazzano, and Cartier would have made voyages regardless of the success or failure of Columbus. Greed and desire for geographical knowledge motivated explorers even before Columbus's voyage in 1492. One of the dangers faced by explorers was the use of maps. This was hazardous as maps included fantastical or mythical locations. Motives behind map creations were pure speculation, as well as creating a purpose for financial backing of future voyages. Maps showed cities made of gold or geographical locations that did not even exist. Antillia is an example of a mythical geographical location that appeared on maps in the 15th century. It was shown as an island in the Pacific Ocean. As time passed and more ocean exploration occurred, it slowly stopped appearing on maps. It is now thought to possibly have been part of the American landmass. For this reason, the argument exists that there was contact with North America before Columbus. The mythical country of Norumbega was placed on a map of North America by Giacomo Gastaldi in 1548 and reappeared on maps until the 17th century. It appeared in the general area of the state of Maine. Norumbega promised prosperity, including buckets of pearls and houses made of gold, proving the motive of early explorers who promised big paybacks to their financial sponsors. Motives for exploration weren't always for geographical knowledge or desire for gold. Columbus's true motives are revealed as an attempt to subdue and conquer the indigenous peoples. He created the first permanent Spanish settlement in America that was said to be ruthless and disorganized. Associations between his settlement and violent punishment, unpaid labor, and white supremacy have been made. The relationship between Columbus, Christianity, and African slavery is not recognized in school teachings. In 1455, Prince Henry of Portugal was given the authorization to conquer and possess distant lands and their wealth. This laid the foundation for financing Columbus's voyage in 1492. Here we see the motives for Columbus's voyage in the explorer's actual writings. North America was originally considered an unsettled wilderness. This enforced the thought that Indians were actually in a state of nature and did not farm or build towns. This way of thinking fueled the expansionist desires of Europe. However, to the contrary, John Mitchell published one of the first maps depicting actual Indian settlements in 1755. It was around this time that explorers began sharing stories of not only encountering Indian settlements, but interacting peacefully with them. Early map makers helped to invent the American wilderness as they intentionally omitted Indian settlements in order to fuel the drive for English expansion into what they believed to be an unsettled country. Exploration is thought of as just the work of explorers. However, the indigenous peoples participated in its success. Sometimes the Native Americans acted as intermediaries between the natives and the newcomers. They are often referred to as cultural brokers. Their assistance and contribution to the success of expeditions was greatly underplayed by explorers. Yet another challenge not covered in history classes is the way colonists had to take control of land from the indigenous peoples and prove their own possession of it. This happened during what is termed the enclosure movement, which started in England and spread to the New World. Fences and hedges began to be used to delineate what was considered by colonists to be their private property. Another aspect of colonization of North America is the biological impact caused by contact between Europeans and Native Americans. One of the most documented studies of this is the exploration of Europe into Spanish Florida. Through examination of skeletal remains, we can see that the colonists did have a measurable negative impact on the lives of the indigenous peoples. Missions were created which concentrated a large number of people in small areas. This helped spread infectious disease. Also, Native American crops were changed for the worse by the colonists and diets of the natives deteriorated. Large amounts of maize were added to the diet, and this contains large amounts of sugar. Dental health suffered as a result. As time passed, exploration spread further into North America. Spain launched expeditions later into the 17th century. These expeditions stretched into the southwest area of North America. Sir Francis Drake and 4 Spanish explorers came to the southwest. These explorers interacted peacefully with native people as they remained primarily on their ships, coming out to trade supplies with the Indians. However, there is evidence that not all native people were receptive to cultural change. Refugee sites have been located by archaeologists. Natives used these sites to attempt to stay hidden from the Spanish colonists. These sites are difficult to detect as they were concealed and now contain few remains. France is considered a latecomer to the exploration of North America. The truth is that French expeditions actually began in the 15th century. However, the French did lag behind in building lasting colonies. These were ultimately established by the 18th century in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and New Orleans. France went about colonizing North America in a different manner than England. The English were comfortable clinging to the East Coast. French explorers moved into the interior of North America. They established settlements in places including Detroit, Green Bay, St. Louis, and Mobile. French expeditions helped make America a bigger, more important presence in the world. Many of the challenges encountered and impacts made by European exploration are overlooked in school studies. Explorers faced hazardous travels across the ocean and unknown dangers when arriving in a new world, and made both positive and negative impacts when they colonized the new country. It is important to study all of the components behind the events that European explorers experienced when coming to North America.